So yeah, I'm back. I'm back in Berlin for a couple of days, and then to upload like last week's episode, I had to go to, a lovely little like free Wi-Fi co-working space that I recommend to most people. Saint Oberholz on Rosenthaler Platz.
Did you have to pay?
No, you just like buy a coffee.
Oh, okay.
And they let you sit there and use their Wi-Fi.
Okay, that's nice.
And it's really fast Wi-Fi because mostly what I used it for was just to download a bunch of YouTube videos.
For the plane.
I downloaded like 20 YouTube videos, all of them like an hour long each. So
I think that's a bit extreme. It's only like 2 hours to Dublin.
No, this was for like cleaning out the apartment because like
fair, yeah.
I've been sad. I've been very sad because it's like the place where my daughter had her first steps and stuff, and it's also like something I realized like the longest single place I've ever lived in. So it was a lot, and there was a lot of like crying at very stupid things.
I mean, same. I'm the most emotional person in the. I would have been a fucking mess.
Oh yeah, like the going to like the old Turkish man who fixes my phone for €10 on Quinzen Alley, and I was like, "Oh, I miss you, man."
And he's like, "Who the fuck are you?"
At the like the joint phone repair / Western Union, like the phone repair. So the reason it's a tenner is because the Western Union helps that guy make fucking bank.
Yeah.
And he's just like, "Yeah, I'll just clean out your USB-C charging port for you. It's filled with dog hair," and that's why none of the charging cables work anymore. But no, like I had to go to St. Oberholz to. I signed up for a free trial of YouTube Premium to download like my YouTube Watch Later playlist just so I could have like stop me from feeling sad, just like voices on in the background while I cleaned of like people playing Danganronpa, the weirdest fucking anime crime game.
I mean, that's what we are to some people,
Yeah, right, yeah.
So.
We're the voices in the background to help you stop dealing with your feelings.
Exactly.
We're all it's all various emotional avoidance schemes. Yeah, so like I did that and I was at Saberholder. Like I had to go there because I had to upload the episodes. The episodes were edited and that's why they came out late on Monday because I had to go somewhere to like actually use the Wi-Fi because I don't have any Wi-Fi in my old apartment. And it was great. It's like it's a really nice place. I'm not going to slag it too much. It comes with all the like, upsides and downsides of a co-working space in Berlin. Like it's probably more expensive for a cup of coffee than in other places, and it's probably not that much. It's not like good for that price, but it's fine. There's cheesecake and lemon bars, and you can have fun. And then there's just like various people with their cockamamie startup fucking business ideas around you.
Yeah, I feel like it's the worst kind of people. Like, no, I bet they're lovely people, but they're also the worst vibes ever.
Oh, yeah.
It's like when we remember when we used to perform at the Selena Gomez Hotel.
The Selena Gomez Hotel, yeah.
And their cafe kind of place where we would do the live show was also kind of a co-working space.
Yes.
And it was so funny because clearly those people were not told that a podcast would be doing a live show.
You don't want to learn about Gunther Fellinger right now?
Yeah. And then you would see all these people with their Macs and like the worst vibes ever. Just start getting super annoyed at the fact that we were setting up and then started the show.
Yeah, and then you'd mix the vibe with the Corner Späti audience, which was just like...
Which are normal people.
Yeah, normal-ish. We love you.
Mean.
I think at the end of that show, there was just like the Dan who had organized them and was cleaning it up would just like send me a WhatsApp being like, I just found an entire abandoned joint just from our audience. Just left a whole unsmoked joint.
That's such a waste.
It was such a waste, and I'm sure that person
so
feels really bad.
I'm so disappointed in whoever left that. Jesus Christ.
It's just like Corner Späti audience. I was like, yeah. Yeah. So, but the other like, terrible vibes when people are around, all their cockamamie business schemes. There was like two characters while I was there that I really enjoyed. First was German to English novel translator who was just doing their job of like translating a novel while like sitting at the cafe, and also just getting like absolutely knee slapping, cracking up at the novel he was translating. He was just like, "This is the greatest book ever."
Well, I know he didn't write the novel, but that's kind of embarrassing.
It's just like, whoa, this is the greatest piece of literature ever. So God bless him. He was very nice to sit beside. And then there was just someone who, somewhere else in the cafe, who didn't realize that their Bluetooth headphones had not connected, and everyone could hear the weird like libertarian the US needs to return to the gold standard speech he was listening to.
Oh no. Oh hell no. See, that's why I always think, oh, I work from home 24/7. It's very lonely. It sucks. Maybe I should go to one of these places. But then I know that I would just be watching people the whole time. I would get no work done. I would not do anything, just watch people, and also get annoyed at people like that. But I think really nobody just stood up and was like, hey, your earbuds are not connected.
No, I think everyone just kind of left. I think it was a lot of other people just had like their headphones in, so I'm not sure how much they were hearing. But
fair,
it was a great place. Like, I don't think I could actually get work done in that environment, but it was a great place to pretend I was doing work while actually I was downloading about 20 hours of 720p
and uploading a podcast,
like wrecking the internet.
I was like, why is the internet suddenly so slow?
No, don't worry. I need to watch people comment over gameplay footage of teenagers murdering each other. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Anyway, that was my promo for Danganronpa, the wonderful teen murdering video game. Anyway, hey, welcome to your weekly corner of Späti. I think was that a cold open? Was that sufficient? We're in the same room.
We are.
Yeah.
Crazy. You're not 2D anymore.
I'm not 2D. I'm around. I can now, whenever Uma isn't, making enough jokes, I can go back to the old method, which is poking her with a large stick, rather than the demerit system we set up for remote working.
That's
poke.
That's why I'm very glad he's gone. So I'm not poked with the stick anymore.
Oh, the stick. We love the stick. So what do we got? We got to talk about... we got some bullshit we can talk about first, but I think we should ultimately talk about the Austrian elections.
Yeah. Fair.
Yeah. So the notes are not written in any order because I don't really have Wi-Fi, so sorry. But what do we got?
I mean, last week, or was it? It was this week, actually. I mean, by the time of this coming out, it's last week.
Yes.
But while you were here, there were the Palestinian raids in Berlin.
Let's talk about that.
Which is insanity. So...
reminded me, not to miss this place too much.
No, exactly. If that's going to stop you from crying.
Yeah.
But so a couple of days ago, at the time of recording, the Berlin police just at 5 a.m., I think, or an insane hour, just broke into 2-3 people's homes. I forget. I saw 2 for sure.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure of the actual number. What were the charges? Like inciting hatred or something? Because they were Palestinian activists, basically.
Yes.
One of them was home and lived with his family, and like his elderly mom and everything were very scared. Obviously, it was police dressed up as riot, but like the whole shebang, just arresting him for absolutely no reason, really. And then the other one was actually is a nurse, and was actually working the night shift. And got home. Yeah. So he wasn't home. Only his kitten was home, who thankfully is okay.
Yeah, we're not U.S. police just yet. We've just immediately shoot the
thankfully. Yeah. But but he wasn't even home. And he got home. They changed the lock while he was gone.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
So they broke down everything, obviously.
Okay, so it's not really change the lock, but rather like replace the door that they damaged.
Well, yeah, exactly. And then stole his iPad, his phone, like stuff that he had laying around there.
Okay, yeah.
While he was gone, like there was nobody told him that there was a warrant for that, or that that was legal or whatever. He was literally gone.
He wasn't.
And
legal,
then they, I mean, I don't know how much power the police has, but I assume.
Well, like the German police typically is always like, we'll sort out the legality after the fact kind of thing. Yeah. So they just do, like, it could be legal, don't get me wrong. But like they do a lot of shit and then like it's found to be illegal later and they get no punishment for it.
Yeah.
So like,
oh, true. What was it that like no police in Germany? We talked about this in an episode that no police in Germany gets punished basically.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
They can do whatever they want.
The most punishment they've ever received is the like suspended with pay.
Yeah,
thing,
yeah, exactly. So yeah, they just stole his belongings basically and changed the lock. And he got back from work and was like, "What the fuck? I cannot even access my own home."
Yeah.
And eventually he could, but yeah, I mean, it was basically because this person in specific is Palestinian.
Yes. Not everyone arrested though was, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, they were just. The others were pro-Palestinian activists, but this guy specifically is Palestinian, and he posted this video that is the one that got shared. It was like him, obviously visibly very affected, just being like, "I escaped Zionist occupation."
Yeah.
To then arrive in this fucking country with this occupation.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's very fucked. I haven't seen any updates. I know the pro-Palestinian activist that actually did get arrested. He has been released, but I saw his Instagram. The thing is, they both have a lot of followers on Instagram.
Yeah, if they didn't before, they certainly do now. But also this.
No, but they did before as well. They're like, quote unquote famous pro-Palestinian voices in Berlin.
Which is why they were targeted to begin with.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah.
Exactly. So a lot of activists have been targeted in general, but this level of like breaking into your home to see, like, it's because their faces are out there. They're prominent voices in protests and stuff like that. Especially the one that isn't Palestinian. There's this picture that he has on his Instagram of all the fucking fines? Yeah, fines that the police have sent him from like speaking in protest, from saying from the river to the sea, from saying, all
saying it
this
on social media as well, I'm sure. Yeah,
exactly. And that was I think that was the reason why their homes got raided, because of quote unquote inciting hatred on social media.
Sure.
Online. That's why the Palestinians guys' iPad and phone and stuff like that were stolen to check their socials and check their electronics,
Yeah. We also got like someone arrested for playing the Macklemore song.
Oh God, yeah.
Activists were also interrogated at the border.
Jesus
people
Christ.
coming into Germany. Yeah, so that was all Monday, right? This Monday gone?
Yeah, exactly. It started the week for sure. What was it? Matt from the Irish Bloc Berlin that we had here.
Yes, yeah.
He was posting about the person being arrested for playing Macklemore. And he was just saying, like, 10 years ago, I would have agreed with you.
The absolute face turn on fucking Macklemore has been amazing. Just of like going from like stupid person that I found kind of annoying to like... It is real. Nick would be able to speak to it more, but like the real kind of like dumb the dumb guy American who actually just ends up on the right side of things just by being kind of stupid.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a very cringe person at heart.
Sure.
So I never disliked Macklemore.
I'm POC person of cringe.
Yeah, exactly. I had to pretend that I didn't like him just to save face, but I did. I've always liked him. I'm like bopping to his like 2012 song still.
Sure.
You know, the whole like love is love songs that he has and stuff like that.
When he does the like when he narrates the story of JD Vance when he was young or whatever.
Yeah.
When I was young,
I thought it was gay. Yeah, I always had a soft spot for him, and then turns out that I was right.
Yeah, I
invested in Macklemore stocks, and I got the reward.
Paying off dividends.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, fair enough.
I mean, it was really cool that in the video for Hindi's song, I think it's called, the second part, there's this line that is like support the resistance when resistance is needed. I don't know. It's not like a quote. I'm just remembering off the top of my head. Misquoting probably. But then he shows the fucking IRA in the video and the Black Panthers.
Yeah.
Which is really fucking cool.
Yeah.
But apparently I saw, a blind boy.
Sure.
He tweeted that apparently Macklemore, because Macklemore is kind of like Irish American.
Sure, yes.
But, great grandparents kind of thing.
That more sounds like it could be, like more at the end of things usually means big. Like Baltimore is an
Big
Irish.
Balti.
The Big Balti. Ballytimore, so town of the big house.
Fair.
Which is also an island off of Cork, which is what it was named after.
Yeah.
But more at the end of a name sounds Irish to me.
Yeah.
I don't know what Mackle is though. But
So in like 2007, apparently, according to Blind Boy, Macklemore posted like this very like kind of cringe like thing supporting the IRA, but kind of like not really understanding everything, like
because this is dumb American guy.
Yeah, like you're getting there, baby. You can do this, but like not fully grasping the whole history or the whole thing of it, the whole politics.
The first bonus episode we ever did for Corner Späti was Nick and Rob showing me fucking Boondock Saints. Have you ever seen Boondock Saints?
No, obviously not.
Yeah, Boondock Saints is the movie of American fascism, but it is also at the same time just like weird Irish American conceptions of themselves. It's a real like dumb guy from Boston movie. Yeah, it's a strange movie, but like that is kind of where Macklemore I feel like falls into this kind of thing, because it was like Irish American kind of guy who his conception of the IRA is like probably more nationalist, like blood and soil nationalist than he would think. Yeah, it is, and how it operated. And then like I can totally imagine like yes, he included footage of like the Black Panthers, but like I can totally imagine he was swayed to supporting the Black Panthers historically by just seeing a picture of them with guns and thinking that's sick as fuck. that is entirely the basis of it.
Listen, better that than seeing a picture of the KKK with guns and being like, okay, no, I like that. Yeah,
but like the same, like because like you can get that the good dumb American guy can just get like enough like social training to recognize the KKK as just bad. That would never happen to them. Yeah, it's really kind of like head empty has very coincidentally ended up on the right side of history.
I love him.
Tumbled into it.
I will protect him with my life. It's just like there's not much up there, but like he's doing the good things.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's like it does sound like he's educating himself more, but he is like. It's very like Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan is very like that.
But the wrong side.
Yeah, well, like the wrong people have been put in front of Joe Rogan, because Joe Rogan is also very like head empty, and as long as the things you're telling him is kind of cool, he'll be like, yeah,
fair, yeah.
Because it's like he's like that's why he listens to all that like ancient aliens conspiracy stuff because like that is cool. It's wrong, but it is kind of cool. Like I love Stargate.
Yeah. I don't know. I just think it's cool that, like, at the end of the day, we find Macklemore cringe, but he sells out arenas. Like, he's a massive.
Yeah, we're in his world. It's his world. We're living in it.
I mean, he's a massive artist, and I think it's just cool that being a mainstream artist as well. He's very mainstream. He's fully openly supporting the Palestinians and like giving money to them as well, and just like
the video of the kids in Gaza all gathered around the phone listening to the song was very
shut up. I was crying my eyes out. I watched the making of the second song, and it was kind of cringe, but also like kind of emotional because he was working with Palestinian singers for it, and kids as well singing. And you know, these Palestinian singers are just, I assume they're famous-ish, but obviously not as famous as Macklemore. And they were just saying like, thank you so much for doing this, that, and like Macklemore was getting emotional, so I was getting emotional, and we're all getting emotional, you know. So I don't know, I like him, I support him, and do
you know what was another example of like because it's really like head empty to the point of like being so good because anyone else would totally like overthink it, would rationalize not doing it for their own safety, for the safety of people around them, blah blah blah. But the fact that he like while touring Germany called out the Germans like in between songs about like having to support Palestinian people, anyone else, including myself probably in this situation, would rationalize not bringing it up in that moment, being like I can't fix the Germans or whatever. But like he's just so head empty, he's just like fuck it, you always gotta say it.
I know, it was, I don't know, I support him. But also did you see yesterday there was a Celtic game in Dortmund.
Oh, sure.
And this Celtic fan had a Palestinian flag with him, and he got brutalized by the police.
Yeah.
Like literally, just for having the flag with him, and they were not beating him up, but just being very, like, arresting him in a very rough way, like just like pushing him down, and like, you know, the way that they do, even though the guy had both hands completely up and wasn't doing anything. And he was Scottish as well, obviously, I think. Yeah. So fun country.
I think that's the thing about this time around with like, because like while doing Cornish Späti, we had the March of Resistance, or one of the that happened while Cornish Späti was around. I think that was like 2020, 2021, where people were marching to the border with Gaza,
yes.
They were getting like sniped in the knees and stuff, and it was like an example of what a lot of people who have been paying attention to Israel since forever kind of like knew Israel did. And obviously the Germans reacted very normally to that and people complaining about it, but this time it's really like escaped containment. Like it's affecting people's understanding of Germany, people who are visiting briefly for like a Celtic Dortmund game, or like just paying attention on social media. Like people are becoming aware of it outside of Germany. Whereas once upon a time, I felt like that was only something you became aware of when you moved here. Or like you had friends or family here or something.
Or if you spoke German, maybe.
But even then, the media before this just like didn't really want to bring it up. They just kind of like didn't even talk about it. I guess like you'd have to pay attention to more like niche media or something. I don't know, but it was something that was kept relatively hidden, which is super interesting, really fun. Because I just right before recording, I was just giving my friend who's taking over my lease like the tour of the neighborhood and showing her all the like nice things and stuff and making myself sad. And then one of the things is the like monument at Nettelbeckplatz, which I was passing, the Dancing on the Volcano monument, which is meant to be like, you know, Weimar Berlin kind of like monument of like, you know, Berlin was this great place for freedom, personal freedom and progress, like huge amounts of research into like the existence of trans people and stuff like that. The word was coined here, I believe.
By Magnus Kirchenfeld or something like that. The who had the sex clinic that the Nazis burned down.
Yeah, everyone has definitely seen the photo of the Nazis burning the books. That's what the books they were burning were. And yeah, like the dancing on the volcano is this, I think it's a poem. I can't where that phrase comes from, like Tanzen am Vulkan or something like that. About like that moment of like there was this huge progress and swinging, the swinging 20s, what are they called? Raging 20s?
Swinging.
Swinging?
Yeah.
Well. Yeah, anyway. Forgotten, but just like that period.
No, Raging 20. I don't know.
I forgot.
You confused me.
Big party time, 1920s. And all that's happening. And then at the same time, like this force is bubbling up and the Nazis are coming. And that's like what that poem and that monument is referencing. And also the Rammstein music video, Deutschland, where they do show 1920s Berlin. I think they're like having like a fist fight in a basement while everyone's like betting on it, while like in the corner you can see like sparks and lava kind of like seeping in. Mm-hmm. That's a really good music video. I know they've been cancelled, but that's a really good music video. And I like the message behind it of just like German nationalism is stupid. There is no coherent through line with the history of Germany. It's all nonsense. Anyway, yeah, it just makes me think about that. I just like saw that monument and I was like, oh, I wonder if that's happening now.
I mean, I have the first force in Saxon, second force in Brandenburg. Lovely, lovely times.
Like maybe that's like very, hyperbolic or like alarmist of me to say, but it does feel like, because Berlin still simultaneously has this kind of like international or even national reputation of like this place to go and be personally free, and like there's still the clubbing and the sex parties, and like you can be who you are here in ways you can't in other cities, and like how true that reputation is. And I think it is simultaneously true with the pro-Palestinian raids that happened on Monday morning and this like incredibly racist attitude towards Arab Germans, Turkish Germans that is still like existing, because like a friend has taken over my lease in Gesundbrunnen, which is a neighborhood mostly populated with like Turkish Germans who have already been pushed out of like Neukölln and Kreuzberg. And I hear the things people are saying about that neighborhood to her now that she's moved there, and a lot of it feels very like
racist.
Coded. Not overtly, but like Gesundbrunnen having this reputation that I do feel is kind of like unfair, and not saying that the people saying it are actively doing it, but they're probably repeating it that they've heard from someone else, not realizing that it does feel like that the reputation it's earned is a little bit colored by that.
Yeah. But I feel it's the same way that people talk about Neukölln as well.
Yeah.
Like, yes, there's places that, there's like everywhere in Berlin, there's going to be people doing drug deals. Literally everywhere.
Yeah. We
used to live by Südstern, which is at U7 stop. And that's Kreuzberg. That's, quote unquote, the good neighborhood. Full of, white people and expats and whatever.
Yeah.
Südstern, you had people doing drug deals all the time. And it's fine. They don't bother. The whole point is that they don't bother anybody.
You just say no thanks.
They don't even approach you because you're not their client.
Yeah,
they're waiting for their, you know what I mean? Like they have their clients and they're going to wait for them. But the way people talk about Neukölln, it's just so racist, even if that's not how they mean it to be. But like if you say that a place is very scary and insecure just because there's like brown people around, that's fucking racist. Like, of course there's always shady places, but there's shady places in every single neighborhood that you're like, maybe I won't fucking walk here, especially as a woman, like at 3 a.m. But it's not because there's brown people around,
And it's all like, I guess like with Neukölln and Kreuzberg, you also get like the more like selective talks about like different neighborhoods. Like, oh, Neukölln can be fine, 48 hours Neukölln or whatever. And then there'll be like someone who sings Neukölln's praises would still have like, inhale through gritted teeth about like Sonnenallee. Yeah. Or same thing for Kreuzberg, but again, would like talk in very coded terms about Gorley Park.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I don't trust them. I don't trust white Germans anymore.
No, and it has been pretty funny to see, because I hated Germany before for many reasons. Before it was cool. No, for other reasons. Like, what do you mean it's fucking cold and I cannot turn on my heating because the man that owns the building has to fucking decide when it's turned on. Anyway, whatever. This things that just like as a person from Barcelona, that where everybody thinks that Germans are so efficient and so great and so da-da-da-da. And then you come here and you're like, this is a crumbling society. What is this? What is this government? Fuck this. But anyway, it's been really, really fucking funny to see everyone on Twitter be like, oh, so you're still evil. Germans are still evil. Yeah. Obviously, hashtag not all Germans. Please don't hate us. But,
Well, if you're listening to this, you're cool.
Yeah, exactly.
But then like, I guess the efficiency myth still lingers, but the has learned so much from the Holocaust myth has possibly been shattered.
As a Spanish/Catalan person, that pisses me off so much, because in Spain, we have not done shit to remember.
It's basically only started now, right? Like with the exhuming of Franco's tomb and everything.
And that was in 2019, and I watched the live stream, and it was the funniest thing ever. He was flying over the...
Sorry, it's like F's in the chat from the...
No, but it was hilarious, because I remember we were at uni, sitting on the floor of like the park next to it, just like with our phones, just watching the live stream. And he was just zooming like in a helicopter.
Yeah. They airlifted him out.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
It was so fucking funny. to like his fucking family's tomb thing, mausoleum thing.
Yeah,
because he was rich, obviously.
Being dictator for Spain, if you're not rich at the end of that, you fucked up, right?
Exactly. But yeah, so it's kind of like a very new thing. One of the good things that, even if it's not enough, one of the good things that Pedro Sánchez's government has done. But anyway, that pisses me off so much, because you see on Twitter or everywhere, even on fucking debates in TV, just people that should know better, that supposedly know better, just saying that, oh yeah, Germany, look at how they learn, and the Stolpersteine, and the like the things in front, and they're whatever, like no, they don't know, like it's not. I don't know if it's not properly taught at school or whatever, but many fucking Germans are still fascists, are still Nazis, and they love. I think it's because in Germany technically it's forbidden to fly the Nazi flag.
Yeah, that's a big. Yeah.
Which in Spain it's not forbidden to fly the Francoist flag, or it's newly forbidden, and it's not really implemented because the police is all Francoist.
Yeah. So, I mean, I kind of get the Spanish position of just like. And I guess this would probably be the same for Italy too. Is like when you've done basically nothing, even the small things the Germans have done seem pretty great, or at least like, I guess what you'd have to be apprehensive of is like anyone saying that like the Germans have done it perfectly, or like we just need to do what the Germans done, and that's fine, because like talking to my friend about it recently, because she was bringing up the whole like oh, you can't actually talk about being pro-Palestinian here. And she's like, finding out from some friends of hers who are like left wing and like stuff like that. There's like, do not want to talk about this. A bit of a culture shock when you're Irish and kind of things like that. But it's just, I think the thing that happened there, or like one of the things that's always at play, is like the Germans kind of, instead of like being opposed to the Holocaust, kind of learned this thing of watch what you say around Jewish people. Because I think this does go, all the stuff that's happening with Palestine right now does go hand in hand with the fact that like the Roma Sinti Memorial had to be built by private Jewish groups. A Roma Sinti statue, like memorial statue, has been torn down in Cologne. You know, like the gay people sent to the Holocaust were just like to the concentration camps were like just kept there because they had committed crimes crime of sodomy, basically. Mm-hmm. No sanctions, no acknowledging of sanctions or like reparations. Sorry, for like huge chunks of Eastern Europe. What else?
Yeah, I don't know.
Communist Party being made illegal in West Germany immediately.
Yeah, the whole denazification thing is just the biggest myth that Germany has like gotten away with. And
because basically what I'm saying is that like if Spain did that, because the thing that would have to happen is you'd have to pick like what is the one victim of the Francoist regime that we will acknowledge and be very somber about while ignoring the rest.
Yeah. You really couldn't because it was so random as well. Not random, but in the sense that like it was the Reds. But what is a Red? Like what is a leftist person in the eyes of these people? Because they would kill an anarchist leader or a communist leader, but also they would kill like
social democratic journalists.
The chillest, like people that you and I maybe wouldn't even consider leftist. You know, but or simply someone who is atheist who stopped going to church but is still right wing. You know what I mean? Like you wouldn't really be able to put a label.
No, I
choose one kind of person. You know?
I could totally imagine it. It would be the Spaniards would then be very somber and acknowledge all the horrible things they did to the Basque people, but then the Catalans are just complaining.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't know. It's I think also
because it would never be the communists. Like we're not doing that. It's never going to be acknowledging the communists as victims of this process.
No. It's
still very like anti-communism is still very much baked into everything European at the moment. So.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, just the other day, one of my tweets went viral because
I love your Twitter account because it's always just got like, the worst people are just like waiting at the gates of your Twitter account.
To be honest, they were so civil.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay.
Like no, because no, of course it's because Twitter doesn't let you send DMs anymore. Never mind. I thought you know, hatred wasn't because I remember one time that this tweet that I made against Rangers fans went viral. Oh my God, my DMs were like, woo. The gates to hell, honestly. But now I forgot that you can't DM people unless you pay for Twitter. Like people that don't follow you.
Yeah.
You can't DM them unless you pay for it. So I was like, oh, that's strange. Yeah, like I'm getting a lot of hate tweets, but like I'm not getting any hate DMs. Yeah. But of course it's that. But yeah, a tweet of mine, it's just really funny because, you know, speaking of fascism in Europe, which we will in a second as well, the Spanish fascists are just so hilarious because it's like, you know that the Nazis would put you in concentration camps as well. Yeah. Like you're a little bit too tan for them as well.
Was it the Spanish ambassador to the Third Reich who was? I've read some of the stuff that he was doing because he was hilarious because it was a lot of like, no, we're Visigoths, I swear. Let us
like Hitler respected the Visigoths, but then was like, no, but it's been too long, so Spain is not Visigothic anymore.
Yeah, we're Germans that have been tricked into speaking Latin.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is what they said about it was what the Third Reich said about the Croats. Yeah. They were Germans who were tricked into speaking a Slavic language.
Oh my God, so. But yeah, and so there was this picture of like the four basically quote unquote leaders of like the fascist movement at the moment in Spain. They all just look so perfect to be victims of Nazis, you know? Take that as you will, but they just look like that. And
this is.
And I just put like, I think it's hilarious that Spanish fascists think that they're the superior race when German fascists would put them in concentration camps, and if they could.
Yeah.
And it went so viral, and even one of them saw it.
Yeah.
One of these guys, but he thought that I was clearly his English is not very good, and he thought that it was a compliment to him, so he retweeted it. I was like, "Are you dumb?"
Yeah, that happens. That is unfortunate. It is. Yeah, there's a lot of that, especially during World War II. There was a lot of like, basically, dear Hitler, please love me back. And it was just like, sorry, I won't be back.
Hitler hated Franco. Hitler hated Franco. He was like, I never want to meet with him ever again. And all the Spanish fascists on my mentions were just saying that, that's why Hitler invaded Spain, right? In World War II, which he didn't, sarcasm. No. And I'm like, yeah, because he didn't care. Like, he had so little respect for Spain and the Spanish and Franco that he just didn't care. And he was like, well, Franco's good enough. Franco wants to be my friend, so that's fine, Yeah,
and then there was also like the whole Franco of Spain technically neutral, but like part of that was just like
giving Jews back to Germany.
Well, yeah, like internally it wasn't neutral in the Azure Legion and all that, but like more just like I think Franco must have been convinced of this as well, but Hitler certainly knew that like no, that would be a giant like Atlantic front opened up. You could do so many because that part like Galicia, northern Basque country.
The Nazis had mines in Galicia and Basque country. Like Franco, mining. Like they were mining resources from up there. Like Franco just, of course Hitler is happy with the Spaniards. Franco was like kissing his feet and ass, like letting him do whatever he wanted in Spain.
I was more just saying that though, like that. The Atlantic coast of Spain would have been so easy to do like Normandy style landings on.
Oh god, 100%. Jesus Christ.
Because it's like the same as like, so that was always something I had to kind of explain to people of like why the UK is kind of happy with Ireland's neutrality, or like historically has been, is like because like that is the only side you could actually launch a decent invasion of the UK from. Because like Wales, Cornwall, these are like not very defended areas of the country, so easy to do a landing. And there's just like so many correspondence with like, was it the Irish League of what was it, the Wolf Tones kind of like operation, just being like, dear Napoleon, please you can invade England from here if you just promise an independent Ireland. Frankly, I think he should have taken that deal, Napoleon. I think he fucked up.
Well, clearly, yeah.
But at the same time, he was off in Egypt being weird at that point, I think. So, anyway, speaking of ill-advised invasions, let's talk about. I do want to talk about. Okay, I'm just going to read it verbatim. Actually, hang on.
Okay.
So this is an article written about Boris Johnson's upcoming memoirs.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's not from the memoirs directly, but it is written, like they got a preview of it. They're writing about it.
Yeah, like a review.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Boris Johnson considered invading the Netherlands to seize COVID vaccines during the height of the pandemic, he has revealed in his own memoirs. Writing in his memoirs to be published next month, so I think actually October, the former prime minister said he commissioned the armed forces to consider whether an aquatic raid on a warehouse in Leiden was possible. The building contained 5 million doses of the AstraZeneca vaccine, which Mr. Johnson believed were rightfully British because they were developed in the UK. But he was told the plan was unlikely to succeed and was forced to admit that the idea of effectively invading a NATO ally was nuts.
Did he have COVID while he was he like hallucinating?
What are the consequences of long COVID? Wandering invade your neighbors.
What the fuck?
That's what happened to Putin. He had long COVID too.
Oh my god, that just proves he's honestly the stupidest fucking. Even Margaret Thatcher was smarter than that. Like, what are you on about?
We have entered.
Imagine being the fucking major that it has to talk to him about this plan, and you have to be serious and professional because he's the prime minister, but you're just thinking like, what a fucking idiot.
I wonder how far it got in the process. Was it like war gamed, do you think? Like, did they crack out the board game pieces? I literally think,
like, I want to believe, even if I don't support British soldiers, that a major would be a little bit more... will know about war and warfare and stuff like that, and would be like, yeah, sure, sir, we'll see what we can do, and then just turn around and be like, just fucking scrap that.
Also, like, not to big up the Dutch or whatever, but I'm pretty sure they're very good at aquatic military.
Probably they're fucking underwater.
They live in a swamp.
Yeah.
I think they're called duckmen or something. They have a unit. Frogmen. Yeah, not duckmen. Yeah. That'd be cool though.
That's so cute.
Yeah, duckmen. No, we need duckmen. It's frogmen with jetpacks. Frogs can go on land and in water, but ducks can do all three. They can fly, go water, and land. The duckmen. So that was just an insane thing to think about. That we were this close to the absolute legends timeline of like where
just like that is the dumbest fucking thing.
In 2021, before Russia invades Ukraine, the first invasion in Europe is the English against the Dutch.
That is wild. Whatever.
There are some reports that I do want to read up about, and some like journalism that's been done. I need sources on it, that basically every European country's like military intelligence during the pandemic was deployed to like bribe people at ports and stuff of like maybe the shipment of PPE gets redirected to a British port rather than a French port, blah blah blah. Like apparently a shit ton of that stuff was going on.
I believe that, yeah, but that's a bit more intelligent than just like let's invade a NATO ally.
So I think we can do these other two of these stories before we get into the Austrian stuff.
Okay.
So first is Spanish police have arrested 5 people accused of scamming 2 women out of €325,000 by posing as Hollywood star Brad Pitt online. This was a story I originally investigated because the way it was presented, like the image artwork was a picture of Brad Pitt at like a Hollywood like event, and I was kind of hoping that it was like they actually went out of their way to get like a Brad Pitt lookalike and whatever, and we're doing, but no, it was mostly through chat.
I'm so sorry. I know it sucks to be fooled like that, but come on.
It's so this was actually, I think the thing is, this was when I read about this more, it seemed like it was an incredibly well thought out and targeted operation, because first they went to like Brad Pitt fan groups, like Spanish language fan forums and groups on Facebook and stuff. Then they targeted, after like police seized a bunch of like notebooks and stuff they'd kept, and they targeted these 2 women specifically because they knew they were alone and dealing with mental health issues. They were able to identify them. They had like huge like books, like notebooks of various turns of phrases that they had tested with them. They were going through it methodically to see which one got the most emotional response. They had like handful of burner accounts as well, just to even like test the phrases. These would be other people from the forum who weren't pretending to be Brad Pitt.
In what language were they chatting?
This is the interesting thing. So one of the women was from Andalusia, so Castilian Spanish. Andalusian Spanish, particularly, I guess. Alueo or whatever instead of Aluego. So she was in Spanish, but then there was another lady. So that was Brad Del Hoyo, and then there was Brad Hobby Arena. So I did for this story. I did translate what is of the pit in Spanish and Basque.
Oh my god.
Yeah, because another woman was, I believe, being defrauded in Basque.
Oh, jeez.
Brad Pitt speaks Basque.
Yeah, that's like, I don't want to be mean because you said that these women have mental health issues. But
yeah.
Jesus fucking Christ, okay.
It's real bad.
Clearly, these people were fucking evil because they really chose their targets very well. Because I don't think a person in their right state of mind that isn't feeling lonely or alone would believe that Brad Pitt is texting in Basque.
I believe there was some. It's not really hacking, but there were some opportune edits of Brad Pitt's Wikipedia page involved.
Oh, okay.
As in, like, they'd gone in to edit
that he speaks Basque.
Speaks Basque and Spanish.
Oh my
taken a screenshot and sent it on, because like the people monitoring the page would have removed it immediately. So you had to be on the Wikipedia at the right time. But if you're the person who edits it, you can just grab a screenshot.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
That is insanely well thought out and so disgusting. And it was 5 people doing that?
Yeah, well, 5 people have been arrested. So... And the scam itself was like, oh, I love you, we can be together, blah, blah, blah. Invest in these businesses, and these businesses don't exist. They're just bank accounts that, like, yeah.
See, but also, oh, God, Jesus Christ, these women...
I believe 100K, 120K almost, has been recovered and sent back to the women out of the, like, total
300K, yeah.
So they've gotten, like, shy of a third, like, just over a third, just under a half kind of it back.
But doesn't the bank have to give you back the money if you can prove that you've been scammed or something like that? No. Oh, fuck.
No. So EU, you have like, you're protected for like 10K.
Okay.
But I think that's for if your bank closes down. If you like the bank you're with gets shuttered and you had like 10K with it, you'll get that back, kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. It's like, I feel bad for them, but also I'm just like, God damn it. In this day and age, getting scammed is just...
Yeah. But actually, hang on. Speaking of which, because this just reminded me of another big story that's happening this week, speaking of banks, is that Italian bank trying to buy... Commerzbank here in Germany.
Yeah.
Unicredito or something like that. So this is off when we talked about like Draghi report.
Yeah.
Like we need to make European champions. Because like that's one of the things that he did talk about is like, this is meant to be one united market, but everyone still has like basically their own banking. Kind of like there's some like cross-border banks.
N26.
Well, no,
but it's online now.
Yeah, excluding the online like e-bank stuff. Santander is like that's in multiple EU countries.
It was so crazy to go to London for the first time and see Santander everywhere. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Why are you here? And like the bikes as well, they're Santander. I'm like, what?
Unicredit. Unicredit is the name of the Italian bank that's looking to buy Commerzbank, which is a German bank. So like the story, hilariously, that like, when the rubber hits the road of like Draghi's supposed plan is good old fashioned European racism of like the Germans are deeply insulted that the Italians are buying one of their banks.
Oh, I hate Germans so much. Pix is doing so much better than them, and they have the audacity to be insulted. Okay.
Yep.
Be insulted in your failing economy, bitch.
I think this would go the other way. Like you cannot imagine the crisis of confidence if a Polish bank bought a British bank. Like that would be like I don't know. Someone would be standing on the cliffs of Dover, just wildly shooting towards Europe.
Wearing a cross of St. George.
You're just emptying clips into France, basically. Oh my god! But anyway, just thought I'd bring that up because, yeah, it's all well and good when that plan exists on paper, and then when anyone tries to do it, it's like good old-fashioned European.
Yeah. Like, Draghi, I'm sorry, they're all too racist to like each other.
This is such a good report for an Italian. Did you write this yourself?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh my god.
You colored within the lines. Yes, yeah, good gemacht. Anyway, speaking of cross-border,
fascists.
So this is a story that I think is I love when Politico breaks something. Because like they don't do that. That's not what Politico is for. Politico is for just like writing insane opinion pieces. Adding a little bit of flourish to like the AP, AFP, fucking wire that they're paying for. Mm-hmm. But this was something they did because they're on that Atlanticist buzz. They are like the major paper of record, certainly in English because they're owned by Axel Springer. Mm-hmm. That is, very geared into this like Atlanticist shit. And because of that, they had to talk about what's his name? Jörg Dornau. I love a Jörg. It's an underrated German name.
It's a hard one.
It's a hard one.
Jörg.
He is AFD and he is a member of the Sachsen Parliament. Mm-hmm. He owns. This was reported actually originally on Reform.news, which is a Belarusian opposition kind of like news portal thing. That he owns. This came out incidentally. That he owns a Belarusian-based company, agricultural business called Zybulka Bell. Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm like, the Bell, I think, is Belarus. For the longest time, I was trying to figure out what Zybulka is. I think it's very close to like. I think it's very close to the kind of like a Slavic word for onion, but I'm not certain of that. Let me know.
Slavic listeners are gonna be like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
Yeah. I guess it could also be like Zweibeln or whatever. It's Zwiebeln.
Zwiebeln, yeah.
Zybulka, yeah. Anyway, I mentioned onions because Reform.news did this, like, incidentally, this came across on Reform.news because they were doing a report on forced labor, which is a pretty common thing in Belarus for basically political prisoners. Mm-hmm. And political prisoners in Belarus means liked a Facebook post you probably shouldn't have, especially during the kind of like mass protests that happened in 2020, 2021.
Yeah.
Those protests were very interesting. We covered them on the show ages ago. It is where you get like the championed kind of like leader in exile, Tichanovskaya. She's kind of around there. I'm not sure. People kind of present her as she was the face of this movement. I don't really buy that. But like, yeah, it was huge. There was like union strikes and stuff. Like the tractors manufacturing union, like also like did work stoppages and stuff during those protests. And like tractors are like Belarus's big export, their big industrial export. Anyway, so they managed to interview some people there who describe the conditions, and it's 13 hours shifts, freezing conditions outdoors. Jesus. No food until the shift is over is given to you. One prisoner that they interviewed noted something particular. Quote, "I've even seen him, a tall, bald man. He came once in his car with a German registration. He came into the shelter where we were picking onions together with hired workers." And people basically put two and two together and realized that he was describing Jörg Dornau.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so this isn't like something like he's, thrown some money into a fund.
No, he owns a fucking concentration camp.
And he oversees it.
Oh my God.
Yeah, the Saxon Parliament has demanded he pay the fine of like 20,000 euro, almost 21,000 euro.
That's nothing for him, though.
It's nothing for him. And they're not even talking about the forced labor thing. They're talking about the fact that he didn't reveal that he had this business upon being sworn in.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
See, that's why I hate German bureaucracy so much. It's like, no, we don't care that you own slaves. We just want, we just want you to say that you own them. You should have told us before.
Well, it's also like, maybe they will care. Maybe it's just the bureaucracy's being slow. But first, he's just getting done in for like not declaring the business. And, maybe we can understand why he didn't, because he probably knows deep down it's pure evil.
Yeah.
The person that Reform.News interviewed did comment that the onions are particularly tasty. Because like he just swipes some for himself because he's not fed until 13 hours after waking up.
That is literally worse. Like, no joke. I read this memoir from Mauthausen, from a Spanish political prisoner there in the concentration camp, in the forced labor camp. That is worse conditions than Mauthausen.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, they weren't good conditions, but like you would be quote unquote fed in the morning for lunch and dinner.
You get 3 meals a day, right?
I mean, obviously, meals is a very loose term.
Yeah. Flour and sawdust.
Yeah. No, literally. But like, my God.
Yeah.
You expect people to work 13 hours without sustenance? Like, that is fucking insane. Well, Jesus Christ.
And freezing conditions as well. This is like winter.
Of course, it's Belarus.
Yeah. So
Jesus fucking Christ.
That is fucking insane. And like, yeah, that just came out on Reform.News, which is like a very, very niche website.
Yeah.
It's Belarus. It's like in Belarus. To be fair, it's in Russian. Because Belarusian is a minority language. But it's like specifically targeted at like Belarusian opposition, Belarusians in exile kind of thing, which is like, again, also kind of relatively small group. So weird.
Has this been... I guess Politico did
It's now been picked up by German news for sure. Like, I think Politico did it first in English, but then since there was Axel Springer, it got, written up in Welt and stuff as well. So like,
and he hasn't been made to resign or anything. That is just insane.
I think he's still going.
Fucking hell!
I don't know what his plan is, like forced divestment or something. Because he's like co-owner, co-founder with a Soviet German, so like ethnically German from like Volgograd or something like that. The ethnic Germans that the German state just handed out passports to from like the former Soviet Union. Founded this in 2020, so like during the protests.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Fucking hell!
It's my 4-year-old onion company, my onion slave company. Speaking of all this, terrible politics. Now we should probably end our little episode with a discussion of the Austrian elections.
Woo! Let's do this.
All right, so it went back.
But sorry, we just sat forward.
We both leaned forward. Wir sind in Österreich, baby. Or whatever fucking bullshit dialect of German they say down there. Service to all of our Austrian listeners.
What a weird greeting. I hate it.
Service is just like, I can't get you. I mean, I guess if I lived in Austria, I'm sure it would appear normal after a while, but it just doesn't seem right.
But some Berliners also say service.
I'm sure they do.
I've heard it being said as if it was a normal thing.
As if they were speaking normally.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because I'm sure there's like Austrians and like Bavarians say it too. So like,
there you go.
Yeah, they
fucking Catholics.
Yeah, people say that. Why can't you be the good Catholics like Baden-Württemberg or whatever? Anyway, so election happened there, and the results are okay.
Bad.
Let's just do the rundown here. Austria has an 183 seat parliament. It also has the 5% threshold rule that
for minorities.
Yeah. I actually don't think they have any official minority parties in Germany or in Austria. And certainly none have gone for I don't even know if they have that as a rule, but they do have the 5% threshold thing of like, you have to get 5% of the vote.
Sorry. Yeah.
There's a fair amount of Italians in like Tyrol and stuff, so I wonder if they get a minority party. Anyway, ignoring that for a second, we do have to deal with these results. So 183 seat parliament, 5% threshold, so only 5 parties got in. Coming kind of like last of note with 16 seats is the Greens, the Green Alternative. They saw a drop of like about 4.3% of the vote from the last election, making them the second biggest losers in terms of like off of previous votes.
They can't even win at being the biggest losers.
No. Then you have Neos, which is
the neoliberals.
Yeah, they're kind of FTP. It would be your kind of equivalent, but also maybe a bit more kind of like on the socially progressive side of things, rather than just like psychotic ordo-liberalist economics, Christian Lindner forever. Although that's a part of it, don't worry. And it's also a little, it's a syllabic acronym. Neue Österreich, NEOS.
Yeah, okay.
So anyway, they get 18 seats. They actually had their vote share rise. So yeah, whatever. They're annoying. Then you have the incumbent ruling party, the SPÖ, Social Democratic Party. They got 41 seats. They saw their vote share dip by like 0.25% of the vote. So they are the third biggest losers. An interesting one that's actually like technically the biggest losers, but they came second in this election, is the ÖVP, the Austrian People's Party, with 51 seats. This is the party of like Sebastian Kurz, even though he's wrapped up with a bunch of corruption scandals, which has affected them. They have seen the biggest dip in the vote share, even though they came second. They are one of the default parties of Austria, much like the CDU, with minus 11.9% of the vote share.
Jesus.
The corruption scandals have been bothering them, and then at the same time, like, so everybody, cast your minds back to like 2021 when the election happened here in Germany, and everyone was talking about how like we need to become like the CDU needs a Sebastian Kurz. The entire CDU was looking to this party as how successful they were, which like they mostly did that by actually like more concretely and honestly moving to the right.
There you go.
Yeah, but in like a way in which the German CDU definitely has, but the Austrian party, like under Sebastian Kurz, kind of like just did more openly. Like he rebranded the party. They also used to be like a Schwarz Partei, but then he switched it to turquoise, like the kind of like a light blue color, which is actually very reminiscent of AFD's current color.
Yeah.
But then, speaking of that, we get the FPÖ, the Freedom Party Austria.
Freedom from what? From who?
Oh, you know.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
A certain religion who rules the world and shadowy cabals, etc., etc. Yeah. Freedom Party Austria got 57 seats, 28.9% of the vote, though not an outright majority. They saw the biggest growth of any party. It's actually interesting. Most of the parties that saw the biggest growth in terms of vote share didn't make the 5% threshold. So there was a lot of people voting for other parties, including the KPÖ, the Communist Party, who've... I think they were a little sad that they actually didn't get into the actual parliament because they're where is it? They have
were they closed?
no.
Is I think it would be sadder if you're like
4.9.
Like yeah.
It was 2.38.
Jesus, not even close.
But they swept. Where did they sweep? It was like Salzburg city politics.
Okay.
They're like very important there. Or was it Salzburg or was it Graz? Might be Graz. There's a city with like a KPU kind of like government and mayor in Austria now, and that happened within the last 2 years. So pretty new. The other party that got a lot of votes outside of the threshold was Die Bierpartei, the beer party.
Okay.
Who's like...
I assume neoliberal hell, but with beer?
No, I think apolitical... apolitical kind of like parody party. Probably closer to like Die Partei here.
Yeah.
Or like what Die Partei was when it first arrived on the scene.
Do they even exist anymore? Die Partei, Die Partei.
I think they still have a seat or 2 seats in the European Parliament.
Oh.
But yes, they're still around. Some people do not think very fondly of them, I don't think.
Fair.
But yeah, we can... Whatever.
It's just when anybody really is like, oh, I'm not I'm not a political person. It's like, man, what do you tell the truth?
Yeah, well, I think we can get into it. They're riding off of something that has also appealed to the FPU voters, which is just kind of like dissatisfaction with the incumbent government. Because, we're dealing with... They had like I believe the last government was like a GroKo situation.
Okay.
Of like the SPD. Actually, I'm not entirely certain about that, but a lot of the conventional parties are just in government. We're pointing out that like the FPU has also been in government before in Austria. That fell apart with like Ibiza Gate and stuff when like absolutely, you can listen to old episodes. It's very early Corner Späti. I think that was 2019.
Yeah, it was years ago. I remember talking about it in my German class. It's like even that was fucking ages
It was
ago.
a big deal. So anyone who doesn't know about Ibiza Gate, it was that a journalist posed as the kind of like heiress to some like Russian oligopoly kind of like money, and basically met up with a bunch of FPU politicians in Ibiza and got them, like, not realizing they were being recorded, but got them to basically admit that they would like happily take a shit ton of Russian money to control the media in the favor of FPU.
Yep.
And that they were all very happy to go along with that. And that resulted in like that the leader of the FPU at that point being kind of like ousted. He was like junior coalition partner to the UVP, caused them to be kicked out of the government. So like that was a bit disastrous, but now the FPU has been taken over by a one Kickel. We're getting a lot of like German names you don't really hear anymore. Anyway, so we can talk about what the FPU kind of ran on, which
which I think we all know.
It's all going to be very, very fun and delightful.
Yeah.
Cut provisions for asylum seekers and irregular migrants. That was the term used. Don't really know what that means. Remigration. We've heard that term before.
Provisions, though. Is it like World War II? Like they're getting rations, you know?
Oh, no. What they literally mean by that is like the emergency housing and stuff like that. Like no more emergency housing.
Yeah. It's just a funny way of putting it.
Because I guess that would like, because you can't really say we'd cut emergency housing, because I think people might be actually force them to be a bit more too empathetic upon hearing that. Or even just the like putting the one in like 2 plus 2 together and realizing that would just result in a lot of these people being homeless.
Yeah.
Which they also
they also don't like. They don't like homeless people.
Exactly. Remigration, cutting benefits to non-Austrians.
Okay.
Yeah. Blocking family reunifications. Worth pointing out that this election, like the SPU and the UVP, also had like tough on immigration kind of policies as well.
It's fucking Germany 2.0.
Yeah. Really trying to kind of chase the FPU vote and like you're right, like Germany 2.0, we've talked about this phenomenon already.
Yeah.
The other FPU stuff that would probably separate them out from like the likes of Maloney, opposing sanctions against Russia. This has actually been kind of more recently, like very recently, right before the election, become a bit of a problem for the Austrian public because of the floods, where the Austrian public seems to be, after those Storm Boris floods, have gotten a bit more like amenable to the idea of cutting Austria off from gas, assuming that we replace it with solar and wind or whatever. Or nuclear even. Okay, and then we get into your classic, like, why does the media like these parties and why do they get like the softest of softball interviews? Cutting corporate tax.
There you go.
There you go. The current corporate tax in Austria is 23%, which is good. It's about the same as France's, a good deal higher than Germany's effective tax rate, corporate tax rate. Also, cutting in work benefits, which
what would that mean?
So they phrase it as like relieving companies of the burden of what companies have to do when they hire people.
Oh my God.
So that would be like...
So giving less rights to workers, basically.
Not that so much. More like... this is also worth explaining to like foreign listeners as well, because it's like the way like healthcare works in Germany and Austria is different from like, say, the UK. Where like you have mandatory health insurance, and part of that is paid by your employer. So for example, reducing the amount of money that your employer has to pay towards your health insurance fund. So make like that would basically you could have the same wage you could have the same net wage at your company in Austria, but your gross wage would be lower. Yeah, because it basically just like getting the corporations to pay less money for every person they hire. And that's like a big thing as well, because Austria has the like 14 wage system where you get like a bonus wage in July and December.
Yeah, like in Spain.
Yeah. Which always sounds like a kind of nice system. I don't know.
I mean, it is. Imagine Christmas with double your fucking pay. Especially if you have children.
Yeah, but it does mean that your usual average monthly salary is because like when a company quotes you your like yearly salary, it's divided by 14 and not by 12.
True. Yeah.
So you kind of like.
I mean, yes, Spain salaries are fucking horrible.
Yeah.
Suck. They suck. So, but yeah.
Because I think your like Austrian salary is like similar to German salaries, but then your like monthly take home would be lower because it's divided by 14 and not by 12.
Yeah. I guess I don't know how it works though, because I think in Spain they just give you like the 12, and then you just know that, and they say like, and on Christmas, it's usually on Christmas. I think July is only for like public social worker, no, not social workers, like people who work for
bureaucrats,
to work for the government. But I don't think it's divided by 14, at least in Spain. I don't know Austria, obviously, but
yeah, that's fair. Anyway, I'd imagine, like, I'm sure it's totally fine if you grow up in that system, but I'd imagine moving into it can be a bit jarring. Getting used to it and all. So, the FPU has also railed against COVID and lockdown. This one I found very interesting reading in the FT. That is one of the ways in which they are appealing to the youth who feel like a portion of their life has been stolen by lockdown. which is, very hard not to be sympathetic to. Like, you had 2 years of the best years of your life being told to, like, stay inside.
Oh, yeah. 100%. I mean, I didn't get to graduate my bachelor's degree because of that and stuff like that.
Like, I remember I was hearing about, like, how it affected in Germany because of course, talking about this with friends of just, like, how, like, all problems in Ireland rebound to, like, the cost of rent. Like, everything just comes back to the cost of rent. All problems in Germany come back to the Schuldenbremse, the debt brake.
Yeah.
One of those was, like, not enough funding in education, which meant that, like, instead of, like, a bunch of German students switching to, like, e-learning, I'm talking, like, gymnasium, like, secondary school, teenagers, they all just kind of, like, had to put their education on pause for 2 years and stay at home. Rather than doing like the Zoom classes that even America was able to like, do. Anyway, so those are the things on the FPU's kind of like agenda. You had like posters out there calling Kickel a Volkskanzler, which people have criticized for being a term that Hitler used.
Well, yeah, it's Chancellor of the people
but not mentioned.
But in folks and people,
it's. I lived here for 6 years and I never really got the full clarification of like, can we use folk? It's written on a lot of buildings, and then people are like, no, don't use folk. I'm like, okay.
It's a big yikes of a word.
Yeah. There was one Guardian report that I found very interesting, focusing on one town in the south. Like, this is, I believe the like Carpathia is the English term for it. I'm not sure what the German term for it is, but like this like region in the kind of like south of Austria. If Austria is a pipe, as people always imagine is like a smoking pipe, then the part where the pipe part hits the bowl, like in the south, that's like the area of the country that voted the hardest for the FPU.
Okay.
Which I guess this would have been like, what is that? That's like
Is it a very rural area?
Yeah, I mean, you are far from like you are far from a lot of the cities. You're certainly very far from Vienna.
Yeah.
I think you are far from like Graz. That's the city in the like pipe.
I mean, it's the same thing with like I have Dane Saxon and all of that. If you're from an area that is not funded, has absolutely nothing, the nearest supermarket is like 50 kilometers away, and you have to spend gas to go there.
Yeah. I mean, this town in particular, I'm actually going to look it up on
the map. The Klagenfurt one.
Yeah,
that's insane, yeah.
Klagenfurt, because it's supposedly a very pretty town.
I mean, I bet Austria is a lovely country, but
it's very pretty to look at. Yeah, okay, so it's like north of, very south, very far from like Graz, Linz, Vienna, Innsbruck, Salzburg, which are like, those are the cities you would like know in Austria. It's close to the like Slovenian border.
Okay.
But like it supposedly gets enough tourism because it's like by some lakes and stuff, and it's an old town. But anyway, Klagenfurt in the south has had a particular problem with high concentrations of fecal matter in the drinking water, which has been there for at least a week. Popular belief amongst the village people is that it has been there for longer, and the FPU has like seized on that because the government has failed to address it. I do believe that. I'd say it's probably been there for longer than like a week.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah. It's like Flint. In Michigan, is it?
Flint, Michigan. Yeah. Just like the fucking Nehammer, like the current chancellor, going to Klagenfurt to like drink.
To drink.
The water. It's like, it's fine.
Well, to not drink because he never actually drank.
Yeah, right. Supposedly the word in the darker corners of the town, on the internet and the Kneipe and whatnot, is that the wells have been poisoned by migrants.
This is such medieval racism.
Oh, yeah. No, hang on. getting to the medieval part, or other global forces, triple parentheses.
Oh my God, that is so... that is literally what you see in like accounts of why the Jews were expelled from Spain in 1492. Like,
yeah, this is like reading from a piece of parchment where the monk scribing it got bored, so there's just like a million drawings of snails in the corner.
Yeah, like a weird looking cat.
Yeah, weird cat involved.
Oh my God, that is insane. Like, how do people still? How are they still believing this shit or like coming up with this? Oh my God.
But this was the Guardian's report. Hang on 1 second. The Guardian report was like talking to. They did their vox pop by talking to the people who were at like the free stand, like the government issued bottles of drinking water stands that were around the place, like loading up their cars and whatnot. So that's where like the Guardian got like interviews from. It was like, that's an interesting place to get like a bunch of people's opinion about the government when they're the most pissed off.
Yeah. I bet they're all gonna be very objective, very neutral.
Yeah. Anyway, that goddamn medieval cat poisoning the well.
That is
the cat that has like a person's face for some reason.
Hey, medieval monks were freaks.
No, they were. So one of the common like phrases you hear was like your cost of living one. Things are getting harder and more expensive. So this is a quote from a 57-year-old woman, Michaela, didn't give her last name, in Klagenfurt. We are struggling, but the foreigners get everything handed to them. We're voting FPÖ because they're talking about taking benefits away from non-Austrians. And it's just like a classic, like, oh, what's that going to do for you kind of thing. Like,
it's just simply not true. It's just so it just pisses me off so much, because how do you show these people that is simply not true? Because you go to them with facts.
Yeah.
They're like, no, but still, and it's just like,
but it's even just like, even if you
it's actually the people you're voting for taking away your shit, and not, someone who escaped war-torn fucking Syria or whatever.
Or just like, why, like York Donau has like a fucking Belarusian slave, like fucking onion farm. This is the shit that's going down. The other side of that would be just like, you don't even have to disprove that they're getting all these things. Can we just say like, oh, maybe like them having their shit taken away is not like going to help you? Like taking away benefits from non-Austrians, which I totally do believe the FPU will do. Like they get some degree of state assistance. But like, unless there's like some sort of direct plan in which like they like benefits get expanded to you.
But it's not. The government will just keep that money and have some fraudulent fucking contracts to build children's hospital or whatever.
We'll go back to that. What, like, they still haven't realized that woman wasn't really a Russian heiress. They'll just go back.
Yeah, exactly. They just give her the money
anyway.
And she's like, no, I literally work for the BBC or whatever.
Like
she works
Frau Rusiski or something.
Yeah.
Like that.
Exactly.
Would you like money?
Yeah, exactly. They just like whatever. It's obviously more complicated than this, but it just pisses me off so much.
Yeah. All right. So then also the things we're seeing is like the current government can't be trusted. It's viewed as kind of like inefficient. This is, like emphasized by the potable drinking water tap situation you have in Klagenfurt.
Yeah.
Local FPU leader has seized on this around the government failure on this. Interesting other thing about Klagenfurt is that like the FPU had like a pivotal moment in the late 2000s under a leader, another Jorg, great name, a Jorg Haider, Haider probably, who modernized the FPU into the kind of more like anti-Islam, anti-migrant, kind of like modern fascist
version,
party you have. And interestingly, he wasn't from there, but he died in 2008 in a car crash in Klagenfurt. So like this town is like a mythical place for the
it's like the
Austrian
Mecca
far-right.
for the fucking Austrian far right.
Or it's like some sort of like weird Neil Gaiman novel kind of thing.
Yeah,
of like
yeah.
destiny always occurs in Klagenfurt.
There, some forces are drawn to,
Yeah.
to Klagenfurt.
some sort of cosmic entity beyond our knowledge draws everything to Klagenfurt. But Kickel told an ecstatic audience in Vienna, Jörg Haider would have been proud of us.
Is that code for Adolf Hitler? Are they going to turn him into this mythical figure of
Yeah. Because like they did get the best results. So to how to read this, because there hasn't been a lot of fanfare in like the press about it, and anyone who is writing about it is talking about like, why isn't there as much fanfare about it? And there's two reasons, I would say. One, which like the Guardian doesn't want to talk about, because the Guardian is a British publication, and to remember things in British politics is to be fruity. Like you can't do it. Like it's illegal. It's against the rules to remember things that have happened before. Which is the FPU has been in government before. Like they are not a new or extreme, quote unquote extreme, as in the sense of like unusual force in Austrian politics. There is no firewall against them in the same way that the AfD still supposedly has a firewall around it. So like, yeah, they've been in government before with the UVP. I'm not sure I'd have reservations about whether the UVP would want to be in government with them again, where the UVP isn't in charge of the operation. The UVP is also particularly weak at the moment because they don't have Sebastian Kurz anymore, who was quite like, singularly leading that operation. And these corruption scandals have kind of like fucked them over a little bit. But yeah, so that's like one of the reasons why people aren't really talking about it too much. Still, we're pointing out this is the first time in Austria's history since World War II in which like a far-right party has come first in the polls.
But they need someone else to do government, right? They can't.
No, they don't have an outright majority. Yeah,
exactly.
So, yeah, there's going to be some sort of coalition. And then like a coalition that doesn't include the FPU is going to be seen as kind of like unfair by a portion of the Austrian people. It's going to be viewed as like, because the cordon sanitaire against them doesn't officially exist.
Yeah.
Although like,
the Greens are going to be like, me. pick us.
And then, but I guess like the coalition that would exist in opposition to them would just be like every other, because only 5 parties got in to the parliament. So it's going to be just like the other 4 getting together probably. I think you can leave out like the SPU or the UVP. I think. Let me just take a look at that graph again, because like what is 183? What's a majority? That's 92 basically. So yeah, Freedom Party, FPU and UVP can get together. Very slim majority with a GroKo. And yeah, you couldn't even do. You could do UVP and the Neos and the Greens, maybe.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
Maybe that as well. But like there really runs the risk of all these like FPU voters being viewed as like cheated or robbed from an election victory.
Yeah,
which I think rightly does mean that like the next election they're just going to be more popular.
Yeah, it might be some sort of like in Spain last year when quote unquote Pepe won.
Yeah.
but they didn't have a majority. So Sanchez just was like, please, everybody else, just fucking vote for me. Except obviously
but that was
Vox.
also like...
and then all the Pepe and like Vox supporters went out to like the fucking PSOE HQ and started throwing bottles and shit like that.
No sympathy there for that because, well, other than the fact that those parties are evil, but more just like specifically that like the Pepe and Vox spent the entire election cycle going like, you can't vote for PSOE. They're dangerous because they work with a bunch of like separatist parties
Catalans,
from these hip hop Basque and Catalans and Galicians and stuff. And then it's just like, oh yeah, the reason that happened in any other previous election is because they always end up being a kind of form of kingmaker. And thus, like, if you hadn't spent the whole election cycle dragging them through the mud, you could have had a government with them.
Yeah.
But anyway, this is the other reason why I think it doesn't get a lot of fanfare, and I think it's totally normal, or kind of like sad, but like understandable, is that like Austria turning to the right, quote unquote, like top of the election results, is a little less
concerning.
Well, no, just a little less exciting after having like Maloney's government for so long. The Dutch government is a far right government. The German state elections. It's just so I can understand why there isn't as much fanfare around that, but like
but also just let's just hope they don't export their people again.
Historically, this has not gone well.
Historically, you Austrians stay in Austria, okay? Please.
Yeah, it's great down there. You got the Alps. You've got your
lovely
water.
Klagenfurt.
It's refreshing water. Jesus. Why are the racists in power again? Well, it's because of this poop water.
It got into their brains.
Yeah. And also, like,
flesh-eating bacteria for all of them.
Reading about it also got worse due to the storm.
Oh shit! I've read. Oh my god!
Sewers to overflow into the like drinking water populate. Yeah.
To be honest, that's a massive fear of mine.
Yeah.
That like the water gets, not even just shit, like actual chemicals or whatever.
Yeah.
But because I'm not in any like neighborhood chat or whatever, we don't realize that we're just drinking tap water, and then it's like, I'm like, wait, why are my teeth falling out?
Yeah. Oh man, that's happening with like Loch Ness. You know Loch Ness, do you? The biggest. It's like the biggest lake in the island of Ireland. It's like the big hole in the north.
Yes.
That water. That's just like filled with like
sewage,
an algae that causes E. coli. And there's like several dogs that go on hikes have just like died and stuff.
No.
And it's because it's an algae that's like totally natural, but like the huge amount of it is a problem when like, and it's all from like effluent, the runoff of pig farms.
Shit,
causes the algae to breed like crazy. Drinking water. A fun new political force.
Join our next political party, clean water for all.
just not
poopy water.
Not poop water, please. Hello, I'm Ciarán Dold for Die Bierpartei. No poop water.
Drink beer instead of water. Why didn't they do better in Klagenfurt?
Yeah, why?
They missed their chance. They could have gone there with fucking barrels of beer.
Really solidify the medieval turn
exactly
that Klagenfurt is going on.
No, literally, medieval people were getting shit faced every day because they didn't drink water because water was poopy.
Because the beer was cleaner. Yeah,
the beer and the wine was cleaner. So the Bierpartei lost a fucking town because of that. They could have gone to the Kneipe and be like, free beer for everybody, so you don't have to drink poopy water.
Yeah, look, I'm Jorg Borg from fucking Die Bierpartei. Look, jury's out on whatever religious minority poisoned the wells or whatever you guys are saying, but like, let's just have some beer instead, right? Let's all go to the Kneipe and I'll draw some sick cats with human faces.
Yeah, exactly.
It's getting absolutely shit-faced, rearing on like
cats.
Oh, god damn it. Yeah, destiny rebounds to Klagenfurt.
Ay. Well, I guess I hope, even if they're a little fascist, I hope they get non-poopy water soon.
Yeah, do you know what? I think, non-poopy water even for my enemies.
We're so magnanimous.
We're so generous.
We're
beautiful.
such beautiful people.
And next time, thank me for
For not having poopy water.
every time you drink non-poopy water, just thank Ciarán and Uma. The two podcasters you listen sometimes to when you're trying to not face your feelings.
Yeah, exactly. Or cleaning your apartment.
Yeah,
probably.
absolutely. All right. With that, we will catch you sometime soon.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.